today we're going to talk about the difference between mainstream general population and protective custody protection, PC. All right, so I guess you all know from my videos and other people that do this kind of content that mainstream general population is where the general population go, and they are, they are a certain way set in people, and then you have protective custody, which is it has rapists, pedophiles, snitches, rats and dogs, and then it also has just normal, like, so in my time I've literally seen a lot of good blokes go to protection, and the reason being is like multiple, but usually because they've just had enough. They don't want to deal with like maybe getting stood over, picked on all the time, and they've just had enough, or they know that they can't beat up 10 people that are coming to get them, and in that case, I kind of like, you kind of feel sorry for them, you know what I mean? Because like some people are just over trying to be a man and getting beaten and whatever, and so they just have enough. But in saying that, I have also seen like some staunch dudes go there for being snitches, and I always have people saying in my videos that they would, if they went to prison, that they would probably go to protective custody. So it's still prison, it's still jail, and like in all my jail career, all the officers that talk about protection and whatnot, they say it is just the same as a general population. People still get stabbed, bashed, there's still gangs, this and that. Obviously, these people, then you have them type of people which will say a duty of care protection prisoner, right? And then you have people that go there because they're rats and snitches. So they've either lagged on their co-offender, or they've dobbed on this person for whatever, or they've dobbed on that person for whatever. So it's pretty hard for a snitch to get through without being found out. Because like I say in all my videos, like most of that stuff is in your prison file. And if it's not in your prison file and you don't have your brief, it will be in your brief, your paperwork. And that's why people get paperwork checked to see if they're rats, dogs, snitches, rapists, pedophiles, or whatever, right? So you have your rats and your dogs and your snitches, right? And then so they get put in protective custody. And then you've got protection from protection, so strict protection. So people that have either been in protection and been made leave for whatever reason, whether they got found out by the people that aren't rapists, because the rapists and the pedophiles and that all go to a certain unit, and the duty of care ones that I spoke about before, they're going to go to a different unit. And even the rats and the dogs, they're going to go to the same unit as the duty of care, but the pedophiles and the rapists are going to go to their own special rapist unit. And and then you've got that. And then in my time, I've actually heard of people being put into protection for other people's protection. So basically, they are getting put there because they just keep hurting people, and they are putting that person there. I've probably heard it happen 2, maybe 3 times, where they put that person there for the rest of the population's protection, because obviously this person doesn't play well with others and whatnot. So yeah, I've seen it happen twice, and I heard of it happening once. But one of the dudes that they'd done it to was just this smallest little Asian dude that was like always carrying like a samurai sword on him, and always putting that straight through people, and like it beats the differ where they always get their hands on these big ass shanks, when they always get it taken off them. But what a lot of people don't realize is when like prisons and that get made, right? So there's a lot of like building debris that's just buried over, leveled out with the machinery, and then over time, wind, rain, people walking, a lot of that debris comes up. So I have probably in my time found 2 or 3 shanks, well, bits of steel, and I made them into shanks that were just in the ground. But I've also found other things. So, like the Metropolitan Remand Centre at MRC. I know I'm going off path a little bit here, but that is actually built on an old tip. So, yeah, there's endless amounts of stuff there, and then you got all the building supplies that get trampled into the ground over time, and then they do come up. But yeah, and then so they're pretty much the types of protection. So you've got like your rats, dogs, and snitches, your duty of care. So like people that aren't rats, dogs, or snitches, they aren't rapists or pedophiles. They've probably just had enough, or they're sick of getting stabbed or beaten, or they know that what's coming, they can't win, so they go, and so most jails have 1 or 2 protection units there. So I know at Port Phillip maybe they've got 1 or 2, and then you've got protection prisons, so whole prisons. So like there is a prison in Victoria that's called Ararat, which is simply made for sex offender prisoners. So and they have this thing there which is called the Village of the Damned, they call it. And so that's where people go. So if you're a serious violent offender and you always serious violent offend in jail, there's this new thing now called the Violent Offenders Act. And so they can send you to, like, it's not prison, it's like housing, but you can't leave. Like you're locked in there, you're allowed to have your phone and all that. Because you are a threat to the community. Well, the rapists have that too. So they get sent to this little Village of the Damned, it's called, and they are not allowed to leave there, and until they're deemed fit to be in society, So it's pretty scary. Like, it's pretty crazy that it happens that often, that they have full jails for these people, It just blows my mind. But yeah, and the general consensus is that protection prisoners are hated by the mainstream prisoners, and the protection prisoners hate the mainstream prisoners. And whenever them 2 prisoners are put together, so like at Port Phillip, they have the medical centre where everyone congregates. So they've got like 3 cells for protection, and then 1 big cell for mainstream, but they leave the doors open. And I've seen, mate, 30 fights in there between mainstream and protection, and like probably mainstream won the most, to be honest. But I have seen a few protection prisoners get it over some cocky mainstream prisoners, and yeah, that's what happens. And these jails as well, kind of like, they allow for this to happen, you know what I mean? So like, especially like I always say, Port Phillip didn't have cameras till 2018. So, you would always see and hear of like a protection prisoner conveniently getting put with a, I have no idea what happened then. The camera cut out. Where were we? So yeah, there is like, if they're put together, they always conflict, and you always hear of them conveniently getting put together. And like I said, it's always going to be conflict between those people. And yeah, so that's basically the difference. And it's a massive hatred between the both. A lot of the time you can hear, like, at Port Phillip, the protection prisoners yelling out abuse to the mainstream prisoners, and vice versa. But that is the go. And people, like I said, people say when they go to, you would literally be more safer going to mainstream than you were protection. At least there are some kind of rules in mainstream and in the general population, where you're probably going to have more chance of meeting someone that's going to look after you, rah, rah, rah. Whereas protection, I would just believe that it would be, full of, people, although there would be crazy people there, it would just not be the same. And I would say you would 100% be safer in the general population. All right, guys, there you go. We just smashed out another video. Yeah, I'm loving all this, guys, all the comments and that. You're giving me ideas for new videos, which is really awesome. The feedback is awesome. So thank you so much, guys. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You guys have been absolutely awesome, which reminds me, if you haven't shot me a subscribe, guys, jump up there and shoot me a subscribe. Much appreciated. Hit that bell. That way you never miss any of my videos. All right, guys, let's get it.